Hey everyone, Aaron here from Push Square with my review actually of Lost Records Bloom and Rage Tape 1. This is the first part in an intriguing two-parter and an ambitious undertaking from the original creators of Life is Strange. So let's get into the review. Establishing two timelines both in the mid-90s and present day, Bloom and Rage is a return to Don't Nod's roots with a killer setting, lovable characters, and plenty of nerve-wracking decisions to make amidst a mystery narrative. However, Tape 1 is a slow burner, and while I'm on board for the scene that it sets, it's really going to be down to Tape 2 to dictate whether it's all been worth the wait. It's been almost 30 years since protagonist Swan has seen the titular Bloom and Rage friend group. In a modern day setting portrayed in first person, the crew are reluctantly brought together by an ominous box addressed to them. We don't know what's in it or who sent it, but it's all tied to their summer together in 1995. That's the big narrative hook that gets you in the door, but Lost Records takes a step back and slows things down. Reminiscing about their summer together, we are transported back where we control a 16-year-old Swan from a third-person perspective. Exploring a Don't Nod setting is nothing new, but what Lost Records does to stand apart from the developer's previous work is that it asks you to seep in the very essence of a time period. With warm fuzzy visuals, a comforting synthy score, and plenty of 90s knickknacks to dial up your nostalgia, it's one of Don't Nod's best settings to date. Whether it's Swan's bedroom plastered with posters of bands, books and movies, or an unbranded blockbuster complete with movie displays, Lost Records goes all in on the handful of settings that you explore. It's par for the course with narrative games like this, but Lost Records really sells the atmosphere of each of its settings, making all of them more memorable in the process. However, the setting is just one part of Lost Records' appeal, with its characters being at the forefront. Bloom and Rage Tape 1 is a tale of friendship, with protagonist Swan, along with Autumn, Nora and Kat, coming together in a chance encounter. Don't Nod really takes its time to establish these relationships, with the girls simply getting to know each other taking up the bulk of Tape 1's 6-hour runtime. It's in these performances that the characters come into their own, both as ambitious, energetic teens and then worn down and mature adults. The writing is much improved from something like Life is Strange, which was riddled with the hella cringe dialogue of angsty teens. Now, it's not entirely gone in Lost Records with the "we're weirdos" patter wearing a bit thin at times, but it does feel a lot more authentic to the characters in its setting. It meant that I was eager to know any morsel of information about how these characters and their lives panned out when cutting back and forth from the modern day to 1995. How did seeds planted in 1995 sprout in the 2020s, all while being drip-fed information regarding the girls' separation 27 years prior? Now, it does get a bit "and then that thing happened" as we flip back and forth, like the characters are waggling their fingers at the screen with a wry little smirk saying, "Nah, not yet." While the time spent getting to know these girls will likely be worth it, you do spend a lot of your time wondering when anything nefarious is actually going to happen. Now, of course, with this being a Don't Nod game, there are plenty of narrative choices to make. From this tape alone, it's hard to really gauge if anything will truly impact the outcome of the narrative. So far, it dials down to your cat being a different colour depending on what you decide to call it, or romance options with each of the main cast seemingly having no carryover to the modern day. It's another wait and see aspect that we'll be keen to know more about with Tape 2. In addition to the Don't Nod hallmarks, Lost Records has mechanical gimmicks to spice up its simplistic gameplay. In Life is Strange, it was the time rewinding. In Twin Mirror, it was the Mind Palace. Here, Swan, an inspiring filmmaker, always carries a camcorder at hand. As you revel in the 90s setting, you're tasked with filming certain items contributing to Swan's memoirs. Filming things like graffiti, nature, location, scenic views, or even your cat, you can rearrange the footage in a simplistic editor and then watch back your work with Swan's added commentary. It's got a lovely aesthetic appeal which flits from wholesome home video to Blair Witch vibes. However, this quickly became more of a chore for me, as you film items, wait for a circle to fill before moving on to the next thing. Watching the footage back wasn't often worth the grind either, and for me, it became something that I almost entirely ignored in the latter part of the game. However, what we're really here for is the mystery. There's a certain point in Lost Records, just when I thought it was about to lose me, that it switches gears. Now, I don't want to get into spoilers here at all, but with pangs of horror and foreboding narrative threads, it did leave me eager to know how it all pans out. Tape 1 is all about drip feeding that mystery narrative, whether that's the reason the gang parted ways in 1995 or why they're so nervous to be back together in the modern day. As if the Tape 1 tag wasn't enough to indicate, this is firmly a piece of a larger puzzle, with this first chapter putting in a lot of the legwork for the concluding half. It makes it difficult to really say how great or worth your time Lost Records really is. I enjoyed it and I would like to see more, but whether the whole experience is worth it is yet to be seen. Now, to quickly note performance, I played Bloomin' Rage on the PS5 Pro, although it should be mentioned that this isn't a Pro enhanced game. The game on its own though looks utterly stunning, with sharp details and brilliant lighting, and I really want to shout out the sound design too when interacting with VHS cases or cassettes. However, performance pre-launch was a little choppy at points, with texture pop-in a bit too frequent for my liking. I never experienced any crashes though, and with the slower paced gameplay, frame rate dips, they didn't ever bother me too much. It was a far more technically sound experience than something like, ironically, Life is Strange Double Exposure. So, Lost Records Bloomin' Rage Tape 1 is an intriguing introduction to a mysterious new world. With its characters and setting at the forefront, this rose-tinted view of the mid-90s is welcoming, it's nostalgic, and it perfectly blends this tale's more enigmatic side. It is incredibly slow at times and it doesn't answer an awful lot, but truth be told, I'm dying to have those questions answered in the latter part of the story. Tape 1 has teed it up, so it's now down to Tape 2 to secure the home run. I'm giving Lost Records Bloomin' Rage Tape 1 a 7 out of 10. Thank you everyone for checking out this review. Do let me know down in the comments what you're thinking of the game, or whether you're planning to pick it up at some point. Just a little bit of side information here. It is actually available via PS Plus Premium and Extra Day 1, so if you're on the fence, there's your perfect excuse to check it out. Anyway, thank you so much for coming back to us here at Push Square. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content. And until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.